It's that time of year once again, ladies and gentlemen, Survivor Series 2025, where we discuss
War Games.
Oh, yes, we can't wait for it. That's right, myself and NX Steve are in the hot seat. There you see our faces as well there, as we're going to be talking Survivor Series 2025 for you. We've got some matches that we're going to be discussing today, including John Cena's final PLE. That's right, he'll be defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dominik Mysterio in a rematch from Boston a couple of weeks ago on Raw. We have got the Women's World Championship on the line, Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. It's Women's War Games action. We've got Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss going against the Lash legend, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, and the Kabuki Warriors. And the men's War Games match takes place with the Usos, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk going against Brock Lesnar, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. It's an action-packed lineup for San Diego, California this weekend. We are going to be in an open stadium as well. I expected around 48,000 fans in attendance. Next, Steve, I suppose the first question I have for you is excitement levels for Survivor Series 2025.
I mean, probably 50-50. I think the idea of the War Games matches themselves are obviously quite exciting. There is normally stupid stuff done in these matches that, you know, there's things to retweet and talk about the following days. But in terms of build and story, I think aside from the men's matches, I don't think there's a lot of build in terms of story with it. Like, I think the Dominik Cena match it's an easy build match. Stephanie Vaquer Bella is almost throwaway for me. Like, I think it's just the sake of having a match on it. And the women's one just been really lackluster with the 2-week build. I just think there's been nothing to it, unfortunately. So I'm going to say a 5 out of 10, and that's purely more for the excitement factor of it.
Fair enough on that one. I think I know my next question for you, which will come in a couple of months, and the match you're most looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say my excitement levels at this point are starting to get a bit higher. I'm about a 7. It could reach as far as an 8, to be brutally honest. Men's War Games match, I'm proper excited for. Look, we might as well dive in and do it at the same time. Match you're most looking forward to, it's that one, clearly. Like, it's got the best build, the most hype, the most going into it, really, of everything on Survivor Series. Obviously, from John Cena's perspective, I'm looking forward to his match with Dominik Mysterio. I really enjoyed the build they had and how they made him IC champion. Did think he would face someone else when it came to this show, but at the same time, it's kind of cool that he's still, taking on Dom here one more time. It gives Dom an opportunity to either get his win back or have another big matchup against Cena before he retires. Only 2 matches left for Big John as well. I agree, Stephanie and Nikki Bella, it's been a bit of a rush storyline. Women's War Games has been building for a while, but there are elements of it that have just been thrown together towards the end, and I can understand your feelings with that one. But I think the main thing for me of why this isn't a 10, I miss the old traditional Survivor Series match. I want to see a 5-on-5 traditional match brought back. Hell, I would like to even see an Iron Survivor Challenge brought into Survivor Series, because I think that's the future destination for this show as well. But hey, that's enough of our excitement levels for you there. And that is also the matches we're most looking forward to. Is the men's for you, just to clarify before I move on?
Yeah, it's the one, like I said, I think there's a lot of maybe anticipation, maybe a lot of, like, I don't want to get sort of too excited because the fact that there might be a turn by someone in this match that ultimately ends up costing it, but there is a potential of it. And I think in terms of story-wise, it probably has the most to come out of the pay-per-view with, in terms of if Roman's going to face Cody or Punk, since they've now built that up. What it means for Brock, Logan Paul, just everyone in general, really. Even, like I said, the Usos, I think there's something for everyone coming out of that match.
There really is, and I think you said you can start to shape up WrestleMania. It could even shape up a little bit before there. And one of my favorite parts of Raw last week was Roman Reigns teasing that title looked better on me, but not confirming which title it was when Cody and CM Punk were both in the ring. Of course, Punk being the World Heavyweight Champion and Cody being the WWE Champion. Robbie Rance is in the house. He says, "Hope you're doing well, gents." We're doing very well, Robbie. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for joining us. And speaking it real is with us as well. Thank you for joining us. As the women's matches are just fill-ins. As there's not been much build-up. I mean, it seems to be a general consensus going around. Ray, not a fan of the shirt there, Silk. Obviously, you're wearing sporting the Arsenal home shirt there for us at the moment, but you are top of the league, so I suppose you can have your moment.
I apologise. I don't normally wear don't normally wear gang colours. I was going to say, I don't normally wear stuff like this just because obviously it can cause controversy. So I apologise, Ray, but we are top of the table. So
I mean, I'm not opposed to wearing some claret and blue, but this season has been a bit dodgy so far, so I've just kept it to the side for the minute. But in the meantime, we are here to talk about some Survivor Series actions. Let's dive into our first match of the show. Let's go straight into what will be John Cena's official last premium live event. That's right, he's the current Intercontinental Champion. He'll be taking on Dirty Dominik Mysterio. It's a rematch. What arguably I am going to maybe controversially say, because it's my opinion, but I'm going to make it as almost like it's a hot take here. I think it was a perfect night in Boston, a perfect story because of the fact that John Cena wanted to have like a bit of a farewell with the crowd. He was interrupted by Dominik. Dominik really had a moment because not only did he get to share the mic in the ring with John Cena, he showed he could hang with John Cena in the moment as well. I love the fact that John Cena didn't back down because this was Boston. He said, any other town, I'd give you a moment, but not here. Tonight, I'm invincible. Dominik basically walked into defending the IC title on the night. And not only did he defend it, yes, he would go on to lose it, but he lost it in a very decent match with John Cena as well. Got a big pop, a big moment, arguably one of the best moments of the John Cena farewell tour, and made John Cena a Grand Slam champion, and arguably showed a lot of people in one night that Dominik Mysterio can hang with the best that are to do it in WWE, because John Cena's still been a face, a marquee name of the entire calendar year. The main event, winning the title in the main event of WrestleMania earlier this year, Dominik shared the ring with him and showed he belonged. They're doing this one more time now here at Survivor Series after there was a 6-man tag team match at Madison Square Garden as well, which was a bit of fun. Cena, Mysterio, and Sheamus against the Judgment Day. Cena technically is 2-0 over Dominik, you could say at this point. So going into this one, is it going to be Cena takes the IC title to his final match? Of course, the last time is now tournament. It's currently taking place on weekly TV. Or is this where Dominik gets his win back and gets the title back?
I'd like to think that Cena takes that title into his last match, because I think it almost gives it a bit more, just almost, it makes it almost worthy. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to get numbers anyway because it's his last match ever. So whoever gets the privilege of being his last ever opponent, I still think he's going to have one at WrestleMania. It's still going to get the viewership. It's still going to get the numbers. Dominik doesn't need the IC title. He's had it. And another loss to John Cena won't really harm him. He's still AAA Mega Champion. So, ultimately, though, I think Dom wins this back here. Because I don't think John Cena doesn't need it for his final match. Although it would be nice. I don't think they'd have done the rematch at SummerSlam unless Dominik was going to win this title back. Because you might as well have just put Cena in the War Games match, or you might as well have given him another opponent. So for me, I think Dominik wins this back here. But I'm not going to be disappointed with either result. I'm just hoping that Dominik, like we saw obviously the match in Boston, wasn't exactly the most time. I didn't have the most time and commercial breaks and everything. So I'm just hoping that Dom gets a proper showcase on this with John Cena.
See, I felt I know it's a TV match and Netflix, there is the gaps with the adverts and stuff like that. But I mean, it was still like a 10-15 minute match, and it was a very hot crowd, a very game Boston crowd as well. But I do kind of agree with one thing you said there, because when I thought Dominik lost the title and was going to move on, I said at the time, I think he's become bigger than the IC title. And like I said, if you can square up the scene and show you're at that level, you start to belong with world championships, not the mid-card titles. And he holds a world championship. Like I said, the AAA Mega Championship is their top title. And that's arguably got a lot of history right now with the Lucha Libre, of course, with his father, of course, Rey Mysterio, having a lot of legacy as well, with being, the GOAT of Lucha Libre as well. So Dominik has the potential now to take that mantelpiece next. However, there is still some storytelling to do with the Judgment Day. And I do think John Cena as well, yes, he's going to do a couple of jobs on the way out, I feel here now. Obviously, I think he'll lose his last match, but if we're going to say this early, I think everyone and their nan thinks it's going to be Gunther that wins that tournament. Gunther is an established talent. He's a former world champion. So beating John Cena, whilst I have said previously and I agree with this still, it will do even more for Gunther, who's someone that's been on a bit of a slide. He's won a couple of world titles, he's lost them, he's come back in, he needs to find his place back in the roster to be dominant. He needs a Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker at WrestleMania kind of moment. And I think that Gunther beating Cena in his last match gives him that, but it reestablishes him as a top player. Dominik Mysterio is a young talent looking to get that rub to get to the next level. And to get the win over John Cena would just be even more something that propels him towards the top end of that card. And I think that this is the time where where John Cena, puts over a younger talent. His other way of putting over younger talent right now is having NXT talent involved on his final show with the Saturday night's main event. And of course, he announced the Iron Survivor Challenger matches as well on NXT this past week. So he is putting over younger talent as well that way. But this will firmly be in a match. I think Dominik Mysterio regains the IC title here.
Yeah, I mean, John's picked up a load of wins this year as well over people, and it's kind of like it makes sense that Dominik is one of the few that gets a win over him. And yeah, I think as well, if Gunther is going to be the guy to put the IC title back on Gunther is almost a step down for him, so he doesn't need it. Like, unless they bring in, I don't know, Joe Hendry as that mystery opponent on Raw this week. I don't like. I don't know. I think that putting an IC title back on Gunther is just a downgrade. So yeah, I think that's the other reason why I've gone with Dominik winning, because essentially two people get the rub. Dom can easily drop that IC title to anyone, and it really won't make a difference, even if it's like Rey Mysterio or someone like that, or Finn Balor if they want to do that story at some point. So yeah, there's loads of ways to go with it. But yeah, I think Dom gets the win over John here.
I think so as well, and I think Finn Balor's a good shout. I still think they needs to do that match, say, come WrestleMania next year. I think that would make a lot of sense. I was speaking to a good friend of the show, Jonesy, earlier on today. We had a little bit of a chat about Survivor Series, and he suggested a fun idea, and I thought myself, I like this. I think it's fun to bring this one up here. What if Liv Morgan returns at Survivor Series and is the reason that Dominik Mysterio picks up the win over John Cena here?
I think for me, logically, it needs to make sense. I wouldn't be against it, but I think it almost underwhelms the Liv Morgan return unless it's in the Rumble. Because ideally, look, people want Liv Morgan to win the Rumble. If she's a surprise entrant in the Rumble, you're going to get a massive pop. It's in Saudi, though, so that's the problem. We're already probably going to know she's going to be there. That's the only thing, because obviously people find out flight records, so they'll know if she's going there. Or I think the thing that they said they were going to do was all the surprises were going to be announced like on the Raw and SmackDown before they fly out to Saudi. And again, it kind of makes it really underwhelming if you know all your surprise entrants for the Royal Rumble, and it makes it really lackluster. So I don't know. I prefer Liv to have her moment rather than be. I think it also actually underwhelms the Dominik win over John Cena if Liv Morgan is the reason he wins. Like, Dom at this point doesn't need a Liv Morgan or a Rhea Ripley to win matches anymore. He's quite capable of getting these wins on his own.
Certainly finds a way to lie, cheat, and steal to get his victories. He's been quite creative with some of those recently. I want to throw just a little caveat in. I heard what you said there as a reply, and that's totally fine. I thought it was a fun way because it would definitely get back in the spotlight. It adds a bit of stir and what happens with the Judgment Day next, and what happens with the Finn and Roxanne sort of stuff with, because Roxanne's sort of been in and around with Dominik and having conversations. But what if Roxanne was actually the one to help Dominik win this match? Because that adds a little bit of caveat in with the Dominik Roxanne storyline, and then perhaps gives a little bit of meat on the bone for when Liv does return. Say Dominik has done the dirty, leaving Liv for Roxanne Perez.
It would make more sense to me because Roxanne is obviously on TV, part of the Judgment Day, even though I can't remember the last time we've seen them all together on TV. So how that dynamic's playing out, I don't even know anymore. I think if you want to do Liv Roxanne, sure, makes sense. But again, I think it underwhelms the Dom win if he has helped to win.
Absolutely. I understand that entirely. For me, I think some form of shenanigans will lead to Dominik winning here. I can't imagine it be completely clean, but a win is certainly a win, and I think Dominik beating John Cena will be a big moment. But we're going for a brand new Intercontinental Champion this Saturday. Oh, yes. So we'll move into our comments very quickly. A couple of comments, and fun enough, nothing to do with John Cena or Dominik Mysterio, but still, we're going to bring them up anyway, and we'll move on to our next match. Tom Talks Rubbish in the house. Hope you're doing well, guys. Thank you for joining us. Tom Talks Rubbish. He says, hopes we're both well. We are well. We are well. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us, and yeah, hope you're doing well. Bob was in house. He says, what match is most looking forward to? We mentioned earlier on, we're looking forward to Men's War Games the most. We've already covered that there. I imagine for NXT, the match he's least looking forward to is the match we'll be talking about next, which will be Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella.
Absolutely.
There you are. Ray says he's currently enjoying AEW more than WWE. Fair play to you on that one. We'll be honest, not really up to date with AEW at the moment, but aim to catch up one day soon. Life doesn't allow me to watch 2 wrestling promotions right now. Vince Russo said on Diva Dudley's podcast that anyone can become a wrestler these days. He said what he sees in WWE is making him not being a wrestling fan anymore. WWE is all about wrestling, not storylines. I mean, sounds very Vince Russo thing to say. Let's put the teeth back in.
iShowSpeed put a video up today of him doing in-ring practice in the NXT arena with Randy Orton. So what does that tell you? I think we're going to get an iShowSpeed match at WrestleMania.
Oh, interesting. We left that one off our cards though. Apologies, by the way, that video still gets to go out. Again, life is not allowing me a lot of time at the minute, but we will catch up. But what we will do next, though, we'll move on to our next match. We're going to talk about then Stephanie Vaquer defending the Women's World Championship against Nikki Bella. These two sort of became friends, basically, while there was issues with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Nikki Bella sort of had Stephanie Vaquer's back and vice versa as well. And ultimately, Stephanie Vaquer has successfully defended her Women's World Championship against Roxanne Perez and then Raquel Rodriguez. But Nikki Bella had been losing matches, and I guess that was enough for her to turn heel. But she had said pretty much for a bit of time beforehand about how she was her good friend and, you know, anyone can stab you in the back and stuff like that. You need to be careful. She kind of foreshadowed what was coming, but we got the turn in Boston a couple of weeks ago, which was I think fairly well executed. And then Nikki Bella kind of got the match set at Madison Square Garden, which I did think Vaquer oversold or was forced to oversell for the storyline purposes of being thrown into the entranceway and then having to sell while Nikki Bella did a promo for about 4 minutes. But still, we've got a Women's World Championship match here, and yeah. And Steve, the floor is yours because I know that you're not too keen on this one.
Don't care for it, mate. Honestly, it's been foreshadowed for the whole time because Nikki Bella cut that promo where she said watch your back or whatever it was that she said, and yeah, we've got this match. I think it's so underwhelming for Stephanie Vaquer as a second opponent for that title. I mean, does Nikki Bella still draw? I don't think she does. And I'm trying to sit there and think who you could put in this place that would probably benefit from it more. Literally, I think anyone would benefit more from it. Like, Nikki Bella doesn't need this. I just don't understand why they've done it. Look, I'm going to go with Stephanie Vaquer retaining. I think the less I talk about this, the better, because I'll go on a tangent.
Fair enough on that one. I would actually say that Nikki Bella, in answer to what you said there, does still have some relevancy. She did a personal PR tour on one of the shows this year. I want to say it was Evolution, and she helped drive tickets to sell better through all the work that she did with press and PR and stuff. And she did a lot of that off her own back. So first off, credit to her for doing that, because she obviously wants to help women's wrestling, wants to help the division, and she is one of the pioneers that's helped the division through what was a difficult time through the Divas era. She was one of the credible ones there. I would say that this match works because Nikki Bella does have a name still. I think that there is still some form of Bella Army out there, and I think that this is a way of just saying, Stephanie Vaquer, here's a win over someone that was a Divas or World Champion for over 300 days. Granted, that is over 12 years ago, and a lot of people will say, may not even remember Nikki Bella, that are sort of newer fans in this, but for older fans like me and you, we do remember that. And even if we're perhaps not so warm on this story, I see where WWE is trying to go with it. And I think Stephanie Vaquer is screaming for some form of storyline, something to be happening, and to get her on a PLE. This is what she's been given for now. And like you said, I think she's going to pick up a good victory here, and it'll move her on something nicer, hopefully going into the Royal Rumble season, because she's taken on the Judgment Day. Now it'll be Nikki Bella. The question will be, who's next?
Yeah, and I'm just while you was talking now, I'm just trying to sit there and look through all the people that are currently on each brand, and like I hate to say it, but Nikki Bella probably is the best option because everyone else is either sort of busy with that tag team division, which I don't know what they're trying to do with that. Literally everyone, like Zoe Stark is still injured. Raquel and Roxanne are doing their own thing. Natalia is doing whatever she's doing with Maxine Dupree. Morgan's injured. Lyra Valkyrie is obviously in that tag team scene with Bailey. Kairi Sane is in the War Games match here. She doesn't have a lot of opponents, so I suppose it makes sense. I don't know. I think if this is anything more than like a 5-minute squash match for Stephanie Vaquer, I'm not going to care for it. I could be I could be wrong, and it could be a great match. I hope it is, but I don't have confidence in it, man. It's two different generational wrestlers. I know Stephanie Vaquer is good. I've never personally been a Nikki Bella fan, so although she was top of the women's division for that period, there's levels to this game, and that level has risen significantly since then.
I would agree with that. The only thing I would say is that I think Nikki Bella is much more comfortable as a heel. It does fit her much more. So I do feel that this is an improvement going into this show to the last time she was doing Clash in Paris, which, let's be honest, that match didn't go too well on the night. I'm still of a believer that if they did that match a second time, it wouldn't be anywhere near as bad. So fingers crossed that this one is a better showing. Like I said, I think Stephanie Vaquer is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now. So I have good hopes that this match will be at least decent. 6 out of 10 worthy, but yeah, I think it's a straightforward answer, and I'm interested to see where Vaquer goes next. But thankfully, with women's war games, it should maybe free up a name or two. So fingers crossed there'll be something interesting going to Royal Rumble season.
Hopefully, I mean, again, because it's in Saudi, it's so hard to book. So I probably don't see it making the Rumble card. I'd prefer it on a Raw before or after, just so then that way. I don't know. I think it would do better not being in Saudi. Like, we've already got to go through 30 women struggling in that Saudi Arabian heat in a Royal Rumble. I don't think we need any more women struggling with it.
I mean, it could be Saturday night's main event, which is the week before the Royal Rumble as well. So there is either way, there is room for a new challenger after this, which I think could be quite interesting to see who will be next. Let us know who you think will be next as well in the comments below. We'd be interested to know your thoughts. CDs in the house says, I'm surprised you were live, but never mind. It isn't Thanksgiving for you guys. That's right, but it is Thanksgiving for you. So thanks, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends out there. Hope that you're celebrating, you're watching the parade, and you're eating some good Thanksgiving dinner. I've got to say, I enjoyed the one time I celebrated Thanksgiving in the States 4 years ago. The dinner was superb. Ray said, I would rather see Natalia wrestle than Nikki Bella at Survivor Series. Hey, I'd like to see Natalia get a shot as well, but maybe for the women's IC title, I think that could be a good direction for Natalia. Bring in the Natty character, turn on Maxine Dupree.
I think that's what they teased this week with Raw. That's the whole idea. Hopefully they don't just foreshadow it really obviously like they did with this one.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. CD says that Stephanie Vaquer is retaining, but Nikki Bella could put a Shinsuke Nakamura and win it and then drop it back to Stephanie Vaquer. Nakamura did this with LA Knight last year. God, talk about a reminder.
No, I hope not. That's just really underwhelming for Stephanie Vaquer to lose a title and win it back in a week.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to see it. But you might be onto something, CD. You never know there. Ray says if they can give Jade Cargill the SmackDown title, Maxine Dupree the IC title, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave the Raw title to Nikki Bella. Seems like there's a lot of heat on Jade Cargill having that title and Maxine Dupree as well.
Hey, Maxine Dupree, I won't lie, is a shocker. I think that if anyone was going to take that IC title for Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupree would have been like in the bottom 3 of that list. So great for her. She has good character work. Still a bit green in ring, but what's the IC title for? It's there to build you as a star. So all props to her. It's just a case of, I think there's an argument out there that there's been people on that roster longer than her that probably deserve it a little bit more. And in terms of Jade Cargill, I've got no problems with Jade Cargill. I think she's all right. I think like her character work is great. I know people still say she's green as well, but she's already a massive star regardless.
Absolutely. And they're now playing to her strengths as well, which again, being a heel, dominant matches, the Goldberg style matches might start kicking in. We saw that with B-Fab last week. We saw it Tiffany Stratton winning the title as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a last minute match added to this card of Jade Cargill versus Michin, just because, again, purely a shorter match. You could do a squash match, gives you the 5-match card, because War Games matches are traditionally 45 minutes to an hour each. You don't want like a 4-hour PLE here. So I think that would be possibly a sensible move if you wanted to add a 5th match. But if there was, would that be something you would do, or would you add a different 5th match to this card if you could?
I think we need a tag team match on there. Something on there, like something that almost filler between the Cena and, like, I imagine a War Games match is going to open and a War Games match is going to close. So you want something in between those two other singles matches. I don't know, a DIY versus someone like that, because they seem to be high on DIY at the minute as well, especially bringing back their old music.
Would you be against Ciampa versus Dragunov? Finally get that out of the way?
I mean, I wouldn't say no. I think that'd be a pretty good match as well.
I wouldn't be against it, to be fair. And just to say quickly, I think Maxine Dupree is improving. Like you said, she's learned. She had her first match ever on Monday Night Raw. Not many people get the opportunity. She's working what she's been thrown into, and she's doing pretty well for the amount of time and experience. And by the sounds of things, she's working extremely hard. So it's good to see she's got a reward. Dave says, I liked reading Natalia's book, best wrestling book I've ever read. Might have to make an effort to try and actually read that one, to be fair. See, this says War Games as a small card. Usually there are 5 matches, but not 4. But it makes sense with the War Games. Absolutely.
The week's not over.
The week's not over, but I think last year it was only 4 matches as well. So you could be onto something there. And of course, glad you've had a great feast, CD. That's good to see. And he does say, clarification, Stephanie is the prediction, but Nikki is possible. Dave knows our match order. He reckons AJ Lee will pin Becky Lynch in the women's War Games match. Well, we'll see if we're going to agree with you in a couple of moments, because now it's time for us to start discussing
War Games.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. There was 5 last year on the War Games card.
Okay. What was the 3 in between?
Shinsuke versus LA Knight for the United States Championship, Breaker versus Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser for the IC title, and Gunther beat Priest for the World Heavyweight title.
There you are. That shut me up.
So yeah,
shut William Regal up as well, to be fair.
Sorry.
No problem, mate. That's women's War Games match then. Here we go then. We're going to be discussing it. AJ Lee then, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky going against the team of Becky Lynch, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, Nia Jax and Lash Legends. So we basically have AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch as a rivalry. We have the Kabuki Warriors, who are tag team champions, been feuding with Io and Rhea, along with Charlotte and Alexa as well. And recently, there was a bit of friction with Alexa and Charlotte with Nia Jax, and they brought Lash Legend into the mix, who cost them the Women's Tag Team Championships, which got the belts over to Asuka and Kairi Sane. So that's pretty much what you need to know in a nutshell. Obviously, for those that say that this has only been building for 2 weeks, you could make the argument that Asuka has been at least trying to feud with 4 of these 5 women for at least about 4 or 5 months. I mean, obviously, the Rhea and Io stuff has been going on for a good few months. I think it was in end of August, I think it was, when the turn happened on Io Sky, and that's led to Rhea Ripley as well around the same time period as well. Is involved with that story. Yes, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss is probably now going on around about a month to 6 weeks. Some may say I'm reaching, but yeah. I call it like I see it. I think Asuka's been the initiator, which has made this War Games match, but the other pieces have had to fit in to make this work, to make it a 5-on-5, which you could argue some of those maybe didn't or shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I think what I'm lacking with this is just direction after this match, because for me, you've got essentially 4 tag teams in this picture, and then AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, because ultimately I think we're going to get that singles match between AJ Lee and Becky afterwards, which is why I don't think we'll get that pin in this match, because I believe that's the one they want to build to, and you wouldn't put that in a War Games match if that's something you want to do as a singles match. The other 8, 4 teams of 2, it's a tag team fatal 4-way just waiting to happen. Like, although Asuka's, like you said, Asuka's been feuding with 4 of these women, it doesn't really mean jack. Like there's been no direct. All she's been doing for months is screaming Kairi backstage for God knows how long. I mean, I suppose the biggest shock would be if Kairi Sane turns on Asuka, but then they're tag team champions. So would that happen? I very much doubt it. But I expect this to be entertaining. I just hope they don't copy and paste a lot of the regular spots that the women do, like jumping off the cage while inside a trash can. And Nia Jax actually knows how to swing a chair this time, because last year was horrific. I think I mentioned this before in the last Q&A we did, that they need to also make sure they get the entry order right on this. Nia Jax should not be first. Number 5, keep her in there for as little time as possible.
I don't think she'll be number 5, but I agree with what you're saying. I think she should be number 3 or number 4. Because Lash Legend is very new to the game here. This is going to be a real testing ground for Lash Legend, because she's not been on the main roster for very long. So, used to working with different people, their styles and stuff like that. You gain chemistry over time with a lot of people. She's got to know 5 people's movesets and be able to adapt with that on the fly when she's just kind of come up. So it's a big responsibility to throw her in there. She's shown that she's improved in NXT over the last number of years. Her mic work has actually been very good. I like the pairing of her and Nia Jax together as well. I think actually it's got a lot of potential for a team moving forward, and actually gives some relevancy for Nia Jax, who was fading away after just being forever against Tiffany Stratton in the SmackDown Women's Championship picture, or I should say WWE Women's Championship picture. But still, it's going to be an interesting one. I think Becky Lynch is the one that's going to come out last. And although we haven't seen the Advantage match yet, I'm sure the spoilers are out there. We don't know the spoilers. By the sounds of NXT, if you don't, I certainly don't. I'm going to try and hold off the SmackDown without finding out. I've got a funny feeling that the faces will have the advantage in this match, because I think it makes the most sense to do this match having, let's say, for example, Io Sky and Kairi Sane kick the match off. You can get yourself Asuka and Rhea Ripley in there nice and early as well. Then you can start mucking around with Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair. I think AJ Lee should come out of there and then simply wait for Becky Lynch's turn, so she can just pull her out of the cage, because Becky Lynch will not want to join the War Games lineup. She will not want to get out there. It's all talk, no action, and that's what I think we'll get. And I think we can see then AJ actually pulling Becky into the match to sort of segregate and make this a 5-on-5 and let the War Games begin, which I love when Alicia Taylor does that, by the way. She does that really, really well.
The only other flip I'd say to that, if you was to do it the other way, is you could do like the normal thing they do, where, for instance, say Becky and AJ last, Becky comes out, locks AJ in the cage with like
she can't get out,
padlock chain, so she can't get out. And
nice.
I think that, do you know what I mean? It's a very old, commonly used trick, but I think it's just an alternative way of doing it if the advantage goes the other way.
Do you know what we quite? I know that they don't really do this like anymore, but imagine if these cages, they kind of design like a shark cage. Imagine if there was like a button that you could raise the cage up so that AJ's like hanging above, like in the entranceway, having to watch and not having to find a way out.
That would be pretty cool, actually. Like, I think they are genuinely shark cages with a solid base. So effectively, if they're on a crane, which they probably are going to be, because they have to obviously take them out when the other 2 matches are going on. Yeah, you could possibly do it. That'd actually be really cool.
Could be a fun way. And I mean, AJ Lee is meant to be a crazy chick, so yeah, she could find a way to get out and get involved.
As long as she's not hanging from her ankle outside of a shark cage like Dom did last year, because no, that looked painful.
It looks scary. It looked very, very scary. So we've discussed ideas then of what could be. I think the women will have the advantage. Have a guess. What do you think has the advantage here?
You said the women, so they're all women. So
sorry, very Michael Owen on commentary, kind of for soccer fans there.
Love it.
Yeah, I think the faces will have the advantage. I'm tired.
Who's got the advantage in the men's one?
The heels.
Then the faces. Yeah, I'm going to go basically counter opposite whatever the men are doing.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm doing.
Yeah,
maybe not with the result.
It's the most logical booking that they've flipped the who has the advantage.
Because otherwise it's basically the same match, copy and paste. So yeah. Prediction time. I'm going for the faces, and I'm actually going to disagree with you. I think AJ Lee is going to pin Becky Lynch because she beat Becky Lynch at WrestlePalooza, and so yeah, for that reason, I think it's going to be 2-0, and I think Becky Lynch is going to get even more salty to try and build this to eventually to a one-on-one match. I think this is going to be goated in, but I still think this. Spoiler for our WrestleMania predictions video. I still think this match makes it all the way to Mania. I think these two need to go for the Royal Rumble first.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most logical thing. Like, AJ has limited dates. They probably won't see each other now till their entrance in the Rumble, and that will be the crux to their match at WrestleMania. Yeah, I've gone with faces as well. I think faces win this. It's probably the most logical thing saying AJ pins Becky because no one else benefits or loses from being pinned or getting the pin. Like, unless it's like Rio on Asuka or Io on Asuka or Rio on Asuka. Do you know what I mean? Or like, something stupid like all 5 of the women getting pinned at the same time. Just stupid.
That's when the fans would start. They buried the other. They buried the other team.
Yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't look as good with it. But no, I do think obviously for the women's tag team division that would be a strong argument to do as well. And like you say, I do think we're building to a fatal 4-way for those women's tag team championships at some point down the line in the very near future. Well, NXT. Good news is we have like 18 comments that have come flying in, so we're going to have to wait and see now how many of these I can actually read out. So I've noticed 1 or 2 might be interesting already. But anyway, let's go into it. CD says that AJ Lee won't get the pin on Becky Lynch, but she'll get a submission on her. I mean, I like the things that's old school on War Games as well, was getting the submission.
I didn't think there was submissions in the War Games match, if I'm honest with you. I thought it was pinfall only, but yeah, sure, why not?
I think it could work. And this way it plays into the story that AJ Lee has Becky Lynch's number, making Becky Lynch tap out WrestlePalooza already. There you are. Becky Lynch is starring in Star Trek Starfleet Academy. News for me. I didn't know that.
Fair enough. I knew she was in the newest Happy Gilmore film as a cameo role, like as a golfer. That was about it, but sure.
Absolutely. Ryan Armstrong in the house is joining the conversation, particularly with Becky and AJ as well. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. He says, then Becky will get revenge by throwing AJ Lee out of the Women's Royal Rumble. Agreed. 100% agreed. And then Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee, WrestleMania 42, can see the writing on the wall now. It seems so perfect, doesn't it? It really, really does. CD, I still want to know why Nia Jax and Lash Legend help the Kabuki Warriors win the tag team titles. Shouldn't they want to win the tag team titles as well? It's a very good point. It's a very good argument, CD. There is no way looking around this of saying that they didn't really make a lot of sense, to be honest. But maybe if we want to really dive into that rabbit hole and try and find a reason, maybe Lash and Nia knew deep down they couldn't beat Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, and therefore they perhaps feel they have a better chance against the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, I would say so. I still reckon we'll get a 4-way between all 4 of those 8 other competitors anyway for those tag titles.
Absolutely. Ty's Family Vlogs in the house says, what up? Good to join us, Ty. Hope you're doing very well. Thank you for being here as well. And happy Thanksgiving to those people that are celebrating today as well. CD says the only time 5-on-5 stipulation for War Games made sense was in 2022 because we had the Bloodline, Roman, Sami Zayn Solo, Jimmy and Jay. I should confess at this point, I think I've been awake for over 20 hours. And yeah, CD says as well, War Games 2023, they had to add Drew McIntyre to the Judgment Day for a short time. And of course, Bronson Reed had to join the team with Bloodline for a bit. Loving that in 2024.
Yeah, they do that. They don't need it. Like NXT did it for so long with 4-on-4. They just don't need the 5th one when it makes sense. Like you said with the Bloodline one. But why add these random extra people for no reason?
No idea. Bob says Becky Lynch said she was warned during her early days in WWE about a star who would attempt to take advantage of female talents on the roster. Apparently, he would blacklist them. I've seen this report. I think I haven't
seen the podcast yet.
I haven't seen the podcast yet. I'm interested to hear the full thing rather than just taking a quote that someone's written. But what I do think is very nonsensical, by the way, is that when I saw this post online, I saw in the comments about 100 people speculating who they thought it was. So stupid. So stupid, yeah. Let's not damage people's reputations, guys, when we know nothing.
welcome to social media.
Absolutely. But yeah, we take it, of course. Look, it's good that she was warned, and I'm sure that she warned others, which is probably a good thing as well.
She did okay for herself.
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's all good. Here we have Byron Cutler in house with a brand new display picture. Stefan Vaquer on there now. Dom has all the advantages. I got Dom. It's all about momentum mixed with aura. So final prediction, Dom, because losing kills the aura. There you are. Okay. Fair play to that one. Ray asking, do you think there'll be... Sorry?
But it is John Cena. Does he really lose aura for losing to John Cena?
I personally don't think so, no. I don't think so. I think if he carries himself to a 15, 20-minute decent match, I don't think there's any problems. But at the same time, perhaps for some fans out there, they probably feel this time Dom needs to get the win back. And I think it is the right move for Dom to get his win back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there'll be any returns or debuts at Survivor Series?
I don't think so. Where is it? It's in
San Diego.
Ooh,
Saint Diego, so. I learnt in Anchorman.
No, I can't think of anything logically that makes sense. It ain't no CM Punk in Chicago, so I don't think so.
I think, as Josie mentioned off air, which we brought up earlier, I think Liv Morgan makes the most sense of a return. That would be interesting. For anyone else, I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing the Gobbledygooker make a return, to be fair. It's been 35 years, but who knows? Probably unlikely.
I want to see the Gobbledygooker come back.
In War Games, maybe Io Sky could be dressed as a Gobbledygooker, climb to the top, and jump off.
Yep, sure, why not? Go for it, man.
Why not? At least it's not a trash can. You wanted different, my friend. I'm just giving you an idea.
I did. You are very true. I do want different.
I'm probably being thrown on the same creative ideas now as Vince Russo. Ray says, who would you like to see get the pin in the men's and women's War Games? Well, if we gave you the answer of the men's right now, we're giving our prediction away. So we will give you that one. But for women's, yeah, I've gone with AJ on Becky.
Yeah, I've gone with the same. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. CD also agreeing with you. It was scary with Dominik Mysterio in the shark cage. And yeah, you can win War Games by submission. Back in the old days, it was surrender. It was surrender back in the old days. You didn't have the pinfall stuff that came in with Triple H.
Fair enough.
Ray wishes War Games would be as violent as Blood and Guts. Now, admittedly, I've only seen the women's one. This is how far behind I am on AEW. I've not seen the men's one, so I can't comment.
I've seen violent parts of both of them, but I haven't seen the full matches. I don't have a lot of time in my life to be watching everything, man, unfortunately.
I wish I did. We'll get round to it. Look, the thing is, they're two different products. I think that's just the thing to accept. AEW will do and push the envelope further right now because their audience is probably a mature audience, I would say, and upwards. And I think that with WWE, they play to the families and stuff like that. So yeah, but they still make the matches work in their very own way. But I would sometimes make the argument that there's not always an excuse to have to do blood and guts matches either. They're just violent, and I think that that's what makes them probably seen more cooler right now of the two, rather than WWE, which gets the shade because it's all thrown together.
Yeah, it's kind of it's the same reason with War Games. Really, there's I don't watch AEW avidly, but like I feel blood and guts is obviously commonly used as just an excuse for people to shed blood and get higher viewership rating. Like I find that maybe not every time there's a story that logically makes sense why we should be doing this.
I mean, there are things that have happened in Blood and Guts that I've not been a fan of, so I would say that it's not always been for me. I didn't like the I think it was, I mean, certainly didn't like Jericho going through the cardboard on the first year they did it. You remember when he went off the top and it was literally it was very obvious showing. And I think it was last year there was the chair shots to the head, which you really distastefully disliked, I remember. And I think it was a thing of Darby threatening to set someone on fire in there. I think it was Jack Perry, which just, for me, I was just like, nah, it's not for me. But the women's one this year that I watched was fantastic. I will say that I really enjoyed the women's one. So I look forward to the men's one, but I am expecting it to to go up levels because they usually do. But we'll see. CD prefers the NXT format of 4-on-4. Imagine you had to ask the champion Undisputed Era on the same team War Games because it was just the Undisputed Era. Yeah, I get what you mean. It's it needs to make sense rather than just throwing people together. CD mentions as well, yeah, which is exactly what Jonesy said. If Liv Morgan was to return, it would help Dominik Mysterio win the IC title. Bob says Tom and Storm got hit with a mirror in blood and guts. Yeah, that was all right. It was all right. Wasn't my favorite spot of the match, but it was decent. It was good. And Daniel Garcia was only added to the Death Riders for blood and guts, says CD. Not knowing if he's been kicked out of the group afterwards.
Do you know Daniel Garcia had an appearance on 205 Live once?
Really? Interesting. Who was he against?
I found that out today. I can't remember for the life of me. But yeah, apparently I found out today. Apparently he had one match on 205 Live.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
205 Live? I don't know. Something like that.
Maybe. Let's move on. Let's go then for the last match of the stream today. And yes, William Regal, give it to us. What are we talking about?
War Games!
There we are. That's the last time I'll do that. Is the War Games match. And who is the team captain for this face team? The all-star team of Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, going up against Brock Lesnar, Bron Breakker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Drew McIntyre. So, where to start really with this one? I mean, obviously, Roman has a bit of friction going on with his own family because the Usos kept getting involved with his stuff. So, Roman then said, people who don't think I can do this stuff on my own. He was going to be waiting till Christmas, but he came and helped the Usos who have had problems here with the 5-on-4 stuff, especially when Brock Lesnar joined Team Vision. It recently really started with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed wanting to win the world title. Bronson's had problems with Roman Reigns, arguably Bron as well, and also with the Usos. They have done Bloodline versus Vision at SummerSlam earlier this year, of course, at MetLife Stadium. Cody Rhodes has issues with Drew McIntyre, but of course did come out to aid CM Punk and Jey Uso when the Vision was going to attack them on Raw. Like I mentioned, the Vision want to have the World Heavyweight title. So there's Logan Paul, who's technically now a part of the Vision. So they're after CM Punk. So there's a lot of different variables. And Brock Lesnar wants a championship match. Was teased with Paul Heyman after WrestlePalooza. And look, he's here now as well. That's pretty much all you need to know. Thoughts of this one? It's an all-star lineup.
I mean, probably the most stacked War Games match we've probably ever done. There's honestly so much to talk about. We could probably be here for another hour, and I don't have the time, unfortunately, but there is just so much. And then, like, if you think about just everything coming out of it, because there were so many possibilities, because you've obviously got Roman, if he's going to face Cody, or if he's going to face Punk for a title, then you've got the possibility of Jay turning on Jimmy and everyone else and becoming a heel. I also think there's now a possibility of Logan Paul turning on the heel team and becoming a face after Brock stitched him up the other day, and like he forced Logan to jump in the ring and he got his ass handed to him, and everyone else stood outside and watched him get that beating. And I think there's a perfect opportunity there for Logan Paul to turn to a face. Like, what logical reason why would Brock Lesnar do that unless he's just being a complete dick? Yeah. And even like with Drew, I think Drew's got, obviously, spoiler, I'm going with the heels to win this one, because I think if the heels win this also gives Drew the precipice to go after Cody for that World Heavyweight Championship. Bron and Bronson also can go after CM Punk. There's just so many possibilities to come out of this that it's almost like there's too many. And this is kind of how like we've been feeling about War Games for months, to be fair, because we kind of know months in advance what War Games is going to be. We haven't got a Scooby-Doo this year, and until like within the last couple of weeks, we now know what the teams are going to be. And with this, I think it's the same thing. Coming out of it, I ain't got a clue who's going to be facing who for what title and for what reason. And I think that's great, but it just gives you a bloody headache, man.
Well, there are definitely a lot of options out there of what can happen. Like you mentioned, Roman Reigns has said that title would look good on me when CM Punk and Cody Rhodes was in ring. didn't specify what one, leads to potentially is there friction amongst the
It's always
Faces team, the all-star team that we have here. That Brock Lesnar wants a championship. I imagine him and Cody Rhodes will be something that happens in the near future. But like you said, Drew McIntyre will look to try and get there first. Logan Paul threw his name in the hat for the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. Bron Breakker wants that title as well. Bronson Reed, I imagine, would not be against winning a world title either after beating Roman Reigns and, of course, having a title opportunity against Cody Rhodes. Jey Uso wants to get back into a title picture, but then for that case, he'd have to turn on one of his friends. So maybe that makes a lot of sense, especially as Roman wants to see Jey Uso and Jim Uso fulfill their destiny. Well, surely to fulfill their destiny, one of them needs to become tribal chief. And I do think right now Jey is more ahead than Jimmy, but maybe that's an opportunity to do a Roman versus Jey versus Jimmy match at WrestleMania. And just imagine if Jimmy won that, because, hey, look, that would give Jimmy his big moment, wouldn't it? That would put him on the level of the others. It will certainly make him on the level of Jey, maybe not the same level of Roman.
I mean,
There were lots of different variables with this one, including Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. Didn't Cody call it his team this past week on Raw, which CM Punk didn't really take too kindly to? And look, there is something I'm going to mention now. Obviously, Cody said as well, you look at that WrestleMania advert, you build all these guys up and I just knock them down, Heyman. You can bring who you want into War Games and I'm going to knock them down. Well, the people in that advert are Roman Reigns, who he beat at WrestleMania 40 to win the title. Brock Lesnar, who he defeated just before, I think was SummerSlam, was the last time that did so. He's not beat CM Punk. Has Punk got a legitimate gripe there for Cody Rhodes with the way that Cody's been perhaps maybe shooting his mouth off in the last week?
Yeah, possibly. But I find it hard to believe that we get that match just because I'm always a fan of the heel face dynamic. And I don't think either of those two would be turning heel anytime soon. As much as people want Cody to turn heel, not going to happen. CM Punk, he's in his golden years. Like he ain't going to be around for many more. So I very much doubt that he's ever going to be a heel again. Not like Straight Edge Society Punk or Summer Punk. Nothing like that ever again. He might be disgruntled and pissed off. Who wouldn't be? He's like 40 odd years old. I'm disgruntled and pissed off most days. But yeah, I just think that although there might be an opportunity to do that match, I think that's something probably for way down the line. If anything, this can also be used as a caveat for a video package in the build to that match. Like, say, SummerSlam next year or something.
What if Cody's saying that it's his team, saying he's beat all of Paul Heyman's guys, which he's not beat Punk, gets under Punk's skin a little bit. And like I said, Cody said he's the man. And CM Punk said, look, you're on Raw. This isn't SmackDown. This isn't USA. This is my territory. I'm the man. What if, and I'm reaching here, I know that, but what if CM Punk turned heel on this show and turned on the other team? Say as well, he went back with Paul Heyman, because hear me out. Just hear me out.
That's insane.
Roman Reigns is on the face side, so he's not back with Paul Heyman. Now, Seth has been kicked to the curb as well. And Paul Heyman stopped the Vision from getting involved at Saturday night's main event when Punk won the World Heavyweight title against Jey Uso. Now, this would hold back Bron and Bronson a little bit. They'd still be the henchmen once again. But what if Paul Heyman and CM Punk were aligned once again, and it led us to Cody versus Punk for a Night 2 WrestleMania main event, especially if, and hear me out, especially if Cody's title was cost against Brock Lesnar, who is with Paul Heyman as well, or who I'd like it to be Drew McIntyre, so Drew McIntyre could go into Mania as WWE champion. That would give Cody an argument to go after Punk, because, well, actually, the World Heavyweight title is the title of who is the man on Monday nights, and Cody could be on Netflix moving forward.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to stick a nail in your coffin here and bury this. What was the point in the turn at WrestleMania for Seth Rollins then? Why would Punk cost both Roman and Punk just to have Seth win? It doesn't make sense, because if that was the case, you'd have just had Punk win at WrestleMania. And I mean, look, it is a big stretch. I just find it very unlikely. Like, there's like a... I mean, for me, it's always logic. if it doesn't make sense logically, like, then I'm not going to care about it. And coming off of WrestleMania this year, why would Punk go back with Heyman? I just don't see. I don't like. I'm putting two and two together here and getting 79. Do you know what I mean? It's not making sense for me.
It's not
You're
even
lucky.
5.
I almost said 6, 7, then, and I was like, no, I can't do that. But yeah, no, man. There's just multiple possibilities. I think that's just one of the ones that's probably the most hardest one to see happening. Just because, what was the point of WrestleMania this year then?
I just think it's not worked. That's simply it. It's not worked.
Possible, but I don't think they do that again. Heyman is so much better as a mouthpiece for heels. And Punk doesn't need him. Like, we had that moment, we had that WrestleMania entrance with Punk and Heyman. That's the moment we wanted. We got that. There is no reason for those two to be back together again, unless it's like as Punk is on the way out the door.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I think it's a reach, but it's something that made me think, and especially with Roman, I don't know. I think there's going to be some miscommunication in this match with the All-Star team, which is why now we're leading now onto the prediction time. I also think the heels are winning this because it makes the most sense. I think there's going to be miscommunication. Sorry?
So they've got Brock Lesnar. They should automatically be winning.
They should automatically be winning. But I think Roman's going to spear one of the two champions by accident. And I think that's going to be a call of which title he's going for. I think Roman's taking on that. Exactly. I think Roman's taking on that champion in Saudi Arabia at the Royal Rumble. I don't think it's taking place at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is miscommunication with Punk and Cody rather than a full-on fledged heel turn. Triple H likes long-term stories. I think they are planting potentially the seed for that match because Cody has said something that could lead to that match. Yeah. If someone's going to turn heel, the most likely one that stands out to me is actually Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Because he's going to need something, I think, moving forward. And I feel that him going to be the tribal chief and that stuff would be the next logical thing for him to go for, since he can't go for a world title right now. So that's where I kind of feel with that. But when you look on the heel side, like I said, Brock and Drew, they'll be going for Cody. Definitely they'll go for Cody. Logan Paul, I think, will go for Punk. Bron and Bronson, they'll go for a world title when the time is right, and they'll build out from there. But I would like to see Bron Breakker get the ultimate pinfall victory. Reality, though, tells me that Brock Lesnar's probably pinning the person and getting the victory.
I'm telling you now, I can almost see it. Someone is going to go for a pin, and Brock is just going to pick that person. It's going to be Logan Paul, but Logan Paul's going to try going for a pin. Brock is going to pick him up by his waist and just throw him outside the ring and get the pin for himself. That's what I can see happening.
I think Brock Lesnar is going to break the War Games cage, and someone is going through the bloody thing.
It's probably a very good shout as well. I just...
Probably commentary side or ring side, where the aisle is.
Yeah, it's always going to be the aisle side. But yeah, I'm expecting something to get broken this week. Hopefully not Bronson Reed's foot.
Yeah, don't jump again. We don't need the tsunami again.
Numpty. But yeah, I think it's good. Like I said, I think it's going to be the best match on the card, I reckon, just in terms of story alone. The women obviously could possibly up them in what actually happens in terms of in the ring. But yeah, I think there's just so much more intrigue with the men's one. That's why I'm looking forward to it the most.
And I think when we see how this plays out on the weekend, we actually will say, right, this is where we're going from here. Because you could argue, yes, there's a Saturday night's main event twice, but John Cena's last match will be all about John Cena. I don't see it being any of this stuff involved. So we have a Saturday night's main event before the Royal Rumble. And then we have the Saudi Rumble, which arguably will have the biggest matches possible. We may get first Raw of the year that could be a big show again if they do the Netflix 1 year anniversary. But, those are the three spots that I think we get some of these full matches taking place. Yeah, potentially.
Like day one special, yeah.
Yeah, something along that line. New Year's Revolution, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So we're matching predictions. Should we go to the comments?
Go for it.
Let's do it.
Actually, before we go anywhere, Who's getting pinned, and who do we think's gonna enter for a start?
All right, yeah, I like because we did it for the women. All right, I'm going to throw a curveball out. I initially said last week I think Cody and Drew kicked this off. I'm going different this week. I'm going to say Punk and Drew. A lot of history there. Kick this off.
I'm going to say Jimmy and Logan Paul, because I think there is more anticipation with other people getting into the ring than those two. So I'm going to say Jimmy and Logan.
Do you know what? You could be right, because last year, the most viral thing from the entire Survivor Series was Punk and Roman in the cage together.
Yeah.
If they do Punk and Cody in the cage together, they have another opportunity to do something viral.
Yep.
So, and it could be again about this: which championship is he going for? Where's Roman's attention going to be? And who's attempting to be the leader whilst in the cage with those three there? So you could be onto something, because Jay starts every War Games match, and I think Jay needs to have a bit of a setback. So Jimmy kind of makes sense. Plus, Logan Paul is the whipping boy that's kind of being told what to do as well.
100%.
So I think you could be right. I think you could be right, and yeah. So yeah, we'll go with Jimmy and Logan to kick things off. Then we can have perhaps maybe Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso. So it's basically what we had as the advantage match on Raw. Then I think we get ourselves maybe Bron Breakker first. And I'll say then Cody Rhodes joins in. Then we get Bronson Reed, and I think that's when Roman says, no, I'm going in next. And I think that leaves then the situation of Brock Lesnar and then CM Punk. But I do think in a way, though, they are presenting Roman and Brock as the mega two. So maybe Roman should be the one to counter Brock as the last entrant in.
I would have guessed that as well. I don't think there's going to be an argument between the Roman, Cody, and Punk, where it's going to be a case of Cody or Punk's going to go first. Then it's going to be the other champion, and Roman's going to be last in.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real fun. Real fun.
I think Brock is going to pin. Brock is getting the pin in this 100%. Brock is going to pin. I'm going to say it. I think he's going to pin. He's going to pin Cody. I think, because I think that makes more sense when it comes to building their match.
Agreed. Look, Jimmy Uso's right there, but I agree with you. I think Cody is the one taking the pin. I think it's Cody versus Brock at Royal Rumble, and I think if there's a miscommunication with Punk and Cody, and I think this could be not long after Cody accidentally takes a Roman spear as well. So it's like his own team almost has got problems with Cody. So Cody can go through maybe a little bit of a, I don't know, people are against me kind of thing. And perhaps Cody's got his back against the wall with all of this. I think that would be an interesting storyline coming out the other side, because Cody's been too comfortable as champion this time round. It's not been as interesting. So this is the first time they're doing something a bit more tasty with his title reign. So I think that would be a good way to go.
Yeah, sounds a little. It's like just logical booking.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive in then, shall we, to what our comments are saying today. And first off, I promised I wouldn't play the War Games thing from William Regal anymore, and I won't, but CD loves it. So yeah, that's good. We're trying to get more sound bites in there as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Ray is predicting that West Ham are going to lose to Man United 3-0. Thanks, Ray. Love you too. CD says, I thought Blood and Guts was in July. Why was it November this year? They wanted to, I think, be a little bit head-to-head with WWE. Yes. I think they wanted to mix things up a little bit. So people think, oh, War Games is a bit tame.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very logical booking by Tony Khan.
Yeah, it was. It was very well played by TK. And many people are saying that WWE's War Games is just done for the sakes of it every year. Many people are clamoring for a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series to come back. And obviously, we have a traditional Survivor Series match that's upcoming Friday on SmackDown. Sami Zayn, Rey Fenix, Shinsuke Nakamura, Motor City Machine Guns going against the MFTs. I said this before. I'll say it for those that haven't seen it before so they can hear it for the first time. I think WWE is testing the waters. We saw, obviously, NXT and TNA do it on NXT TV a couple of weeks ago for their head-to-head special. They're now doing it on SmackDown. I think if it goes down really, really well, I think there's a chance traditional Survivor Series match makes its way back to Survivor Series next year.
Yeah, I think it needs to, just to change up having 2 War Games matches.
I think so. Do one to kick off the show because it's a good way to action pace to start things off. Have the War Games still as the main event, and then just do something with a bit of a survival stipulation in the middle, maybe a Fatal 4-Way elimination, or do yourself an Iron Survivor challenge, or King of the Ring final, something along that line. I'd like it. CD says Division wins this because Logan Paul needs momentum for his World Heavyweight title match against CM Punk at the Royal Rumble. There you are. CD says, did you see Brock Lesnar fall? Oh, did we? Oh, did we? I don't feel bad for him because I think it might be karma.
To be fair, like he laughed about it. You can't get any more. It can't get any better than that. Like Brock Lesnar laughing it off is probably a big deal. Like, don't get me wrong, someone probably got hurt backstage for it, but yeah, I'll take it.
I mean, to be fair, he completely no-sold it. He laughed his head off, and to be fair, he had trouble holding it together for a bit. It was quite humorous. Was quite humorous. Ray says there are too many kickouts after a finishing move is done. I agree with that.
That's been a problem for 25 years.
It has been. Actually started in the Vince Russo era.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was the one booking it, but while he was in wrestling. Hanson says, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hope you enjoyed having a great day so far. CD says that Bron Breaker's momentum has died down. I think him and Bronson Reed go after the World Tag Team titles. I'm not against that.
No, I'm not either. It just needs to be more logical booking, really, because obviously you can't really have 3 people going off. Well, you could have 3 people going off to CM Punk's world title. I just find it very unlikely.
Certainly, indeed, yeah. Yeah, we did like Brock falling over on Raw. CD says Roman Reigns has already threw the hat into the title contention too. I think he will be at the Royal Rumble to face CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 42. So he's going all the way to WrestleMania for that match to happen. So it does have a WrestleMania feel to it, though, if they do go down that direction. CD says, I love how Cody Rhodes calls it his team, but CM Punk actually has more history with the Vision than Cody Rhodes. And that's true. Yeah, we don't even need to go into CM. We didn't really talk about Punk's history with the Vision, but I think we all assume that it's there.
I think Cody's history just literally lies with Seth. I mean, who's not part of it anymore?
Absolutely. To be fair, CD says a few minutes later, CM Punk has become the new leader of the Vision. You've convinced me, Steve.
Why? Logically, why? I mean, if you can book it right, sure.
I've given a few reasons of how I can make it work. I understand the Seth argument, but you know, there is the other hurdle as well that surely AJ and Becky Lynch need to double turn as well. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's difficult. So CD says we're getting Roman versus Brock Lesnar for the championship of WrestleMania 42.
No.
With this, let's hope not. I don't think anyone wants that.
Would that be like the 4th version of that match we get at WrestleMania?
Probably 31, yeah, 31, 34, and 38. Yeah, just don't do it, WWE. They said the last time was the last match, you know, when they did the last man standing. And there was I need a tractor to do this again.
Yeah, just beating a dead horse with a stick.
Yeah, don't do it. Seth Rollins losing his on purpose to LA Knight made no sense to CM Punk joining Paul Heyman. It's very possible this is professional wrestling. Yeah, to be fair, things don't make sense in wrestling. They never do.
TNA, but this is KO booking. TKO booking, sorry.
Yeah, that's true. Happy Thanksgiving, says Eric. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Eric. Hope you're having a good day as well. I want to know what everyone's eating for Thanksgiving. Share us some of the buffet that you got today. Would be interested to know. Wait, if you go outside of War Games after entering, your team forfeit. So I don't know how Brock Lesnar will do that. What if you throw someone through the thing? They can't forfeit. It's kind of like just an impact moment. I don't think it's then that person's forfeited because they've not gone out of the cage themselves.
Unless they touch the floor, and then technically they forfeit by a technicality.
I suppose you could, but I think it's a case of they've not quit because they've not chosen to do it. It's just Brock is that powerful.
Does anyone want to fall off the top of a steel cage, Steve? I very much doubt it.
Not off the top of it. They go through it.
Oh, I know.
They knock the cage down.
Paul White thrown Austin for a cage. Do you think that's how Austin wanted to win that cage? I don't think so. But it still counts as a win for him.
It counted as a win, yeah. It did.
So that's what I'm saying. It could still count as a loss.
I mean, Bobby Lashley speared Umaga
I'm surprised that
through a
came off the
cage.
top of my head, by the way, as well. Sorry.
That was darn impressive.
Yeah.
Darn
what was you saying?
impressive.
Sorry, Bobby Lashley and what?
He speared Umaga through a cage, the side of the cage, while on a Monday Night Raw. Sure, it was a Raw.
Who touched the floor first? Bobby Lashley?
Technically, neither of them, because the cage landed in a way where they both were still kind of on the cage. But I don't really remember what the fallout from there.
Sure, fair enough.
We'll say one of them won. Jimmy Uso also rejoined the Bloodline in 2023. That made no sense. So okay, looks there you go. There's evidence there. Things make no sense. Let's just have it happen.
Don't give him ammunition for it, man. Don't feed that nonsense.
But it's boosting the ego. CD says, fun fact, Jey Uso has been in every WarGames match on the main roster. True story. Roman as well? I assume Roman probably. No, he hasn't. He wasn't on 20. Oh, God. The one with the Judgment Day when CM Punk returned. CD says, if WWE never brings traditional Survivor Series match to Survivor Series, then Seth Rollins will always be the final sole survivor in WWE history.
Yeah, very true. Very good point.
Very good. Iron Survivor is like a championship scramble, in my opinion. Kind of, yeah. Just you got to have the penalty booth in there, haven't you?
It's like bringing ice hockey into wrestling.
I love it. In the old days, if that was to happen, Brock Lesnar, he would have had an outburst most likely. Yeah, he just laughs these days when he falls over, so that's quite fun.
Oh, whoever he was getting his hands on next would have got hurt badly for that.
I don't want to know about that. So, Thanksgiving dinner for CD. Turkey, rolls, green beans, stuffing. For dessert, cheesecake. Good man. Yeah. I think mine when I did it was turkey. There was pumpkin. Yeah, there was all sorts of things. And I had some cheesecake afterwards as well. It was a good time. We should go over Thanksgiving next, Dave.
Mac and cheese is always the one I find that is like just a weird thing to have at a dinner table for like Thanksgiving. Like, sure, fine, whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
That wasn't an option for me on that menu that day. CD says, good point. Technically, the opponent doesn't touch the floor, so it isn't a format. And CD lastly says he doesn't want Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar either. It's getting PTSD, and I think it's possible.
I think we all have.
Yep, I don't think you're on your own on that one. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time that we call it there for this evening. But thank you all so much for watching our predictions here for Survivor Series 2025 War Games. Just quickly before we go, I wasn't going to mention this, but I feel I have to. Raw this past week, John Cena, Dominik Mysterio. Did they really have to do the little person segment?
I'm going to give you a caveat to this, right? So obviously, for anyone who knows, the guy who played John Wiener, as his name was, he's a wrestler. His name is Psycho. He does these micro wrestling league or wherever it is. It's an independent wrestling company that have small people wrestle, and he's one of the roster. If he'd have won that, if he'd have stood tall at that scenario, would it have been better, more accepted than Dominik Mysterio standing tall?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because I'm telling you now, if it had been the other way round, people would have loved it because the small person stood tall. But because obviously it's meant to get Dominik Mysterio heat, the guy's a wrestler anyway, so it's not even like he was beating up. The guy is a professional wrestler, so he can take the bump. He sold it really well, in fact. But my point is if you flip the script, people would have loved it if John Wiener had stood tall over Dominik Mysterio. And so I'm going to sit there and say maybe they shouldn't do it. But like I said, if it was the other way around, people would have popped for it.
Fair. I just think for me, my problem with this is not even the way of the result of it. It's more the fact of like, I just don't think it works in 2025 in general, like for, correctness. But at the same time, I don't think it fits Dominik Mysterio either. I thought of all people that would do such a thing, I don't think it's a Dom thing. Yeah. I just think Dom's cooler than that.
Character at all.
No, when they hit the music, I genuinely thought that Dom was just gonna like laugh it off and say, "Ha, you can't see him," kind of thing. Like, and you won't be able to see him because I'm gonna put him in retirement early. This is how you're gonna have to get used to shows where you don't see John Cena. And in his last PLE, I'm gonna take his title and I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna prove again why. Like, I'm the greatest there is of all time, the greatest IC champion, the greatest luchador, and all the rest of it. I think that would have been so much of a simpler way to go. It was yeah. I think it was a real missed opportunity on Raw.
It's poorly booked for Dominik Mysterio, but I'm gonna say it's not as bad as what people expected, because I'm telling you now, if, like I said, the small person had come out on top, people would have popped, and it would have given it actually probably would have been better for Dom to have like taken the loss on that one.
Fair. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We have a couple of comments that have come in just before we go off. Alexander just puts on Dominik Mysterio. I don't know. Fair enough. Hang on, we're going to go to the bottom to the new comments here. Would you like to see a War Games Championship? Definitely not. Definitely not. I think we have enough titles.
Because it would end up in the same place as that Royal Rumble Championship.
Yeah, War Games in Saudi every year, I guess. Vince is secretly back in charge. Oh dear. And it seems that
prices would be lower.
Yeah, they would be. They would be. I think they'll be forced to be in 2026. I think WWE's going to have an issue when Cena's stopped. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent here. Thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves out and each other. Make sure to hit the like button. Hit that like button. Hit the hype button as well. So if you hit the hype button, we don't just get hyped, we stay hyped. Keep an eye out. There'll be a review for Survivor Series probably Monday. I'd say is a safe bet. Monday is probably the safest option. I would say, something like that. But look after yourselves and each other. And I'm going to try and get the WrestleMania video out this week because, damn it, it needs to come out. It's sitting there waiting. So yeah,
we probably should have waited to do it after Survivor Series, really, because after this weekend, it's probably going to be even more worse than what I've already predicted, especially.
See, I think it looks all right still. It's tasty.
Yeah.
It's almost tasty like Thanksgiving dinner.
I like it.
I like it. Thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves. We'll see you for the next one.